Hello everyone, let's do one more linear programming problem together. This is your warm-up. If you're here, we're using the Desmos thing as well. But if not, let's kind of talk about it. We first need to figure out the constraints and then we'll look for an objective function. This is about graphing calculators and there's all sorts of different ones now. This says, in order to meet demand, they have to make at least 200 color screens per day. That's a constraint. What else? They insist that there are at least twice as many color screens as black and white screens. Be careful, that's going to be tricky. And then what else? During production, they are capable of making a maximum of 600 calculators per day. It doesn't say anything about profit, but we are defining our variables there. X is the number of color screens, and Y is the number of black and white screens. So let's see. They have to make at least 200 color screens a day. Color screens is X, so X has to be greater than or equal to 200. You can make more than 200, but you have to make at least 200. That's my first constraint. Actually, I'm going to do that in blue so they match the highlight. How about that? X is X is greater than or equal to 200. The blue constraint. Okay. Let's see what else. Red constraint. Twice as many color screens as black and white screens. Be careful. If it helps you to make a table, this will be color screens are X and Y. Twice as many color screens means if you make one black and white, you have to make 2 color screens. If you make 2 black and whites, you have to make 4 color screens. Hopefully you realize that X is 2Y, but more than that, it has to be at least, so it has to be greater than or equal to 2Y. You double the smaller amount. If there's more color screens, you double the smaller amount. You double the black and white screens. Okay, so that's tricky. The amount of color screens has to be at least twice the number of black and white screens. That's my second constraint. And the last one, they are capable of making 600 calculators per day. It doesn't matter if they're black and white or color. We're just going to say X plus Y. They can't make more than 600. They can make less than or equal to 600. Okay, that's the maximum. They can't make more than 600. So I've got my constraints. Now I need to graph them. So that's Desmos time. Get out of here. We're going to say X is greater than or equal to 200. X is greater than or equal to 2Y. And X plus Y is less than or equal to 600. So we got to zoom out because 600 is a big number. There we go. Okay. So can we find the overlap? To the right, underneath. Ooh, okay. To the right and underneath, and then also underneath. So it's actually this. That triangle's tempting. Now, you might want to add a constraint Y is greater than or equal to 0. It doesn't really matter if you label that one, but it should be worth saying you're not going to, again, make negative anything. So I can see my feasible region is right here. I have my vertices. So I will bring those back over here so I can start to talk about what's next. Okay. So there's my feasible region. Now it says something about the objective function. So the objective function says there is $25 for each color calculator and $30 for each black and white. So that would be 30x plus, 35x, because the color screens are x, 35x plus 30y, and since it's for profit, we'll say p. Doesn't really matter. P and C are the two E's the most. All right, let's test them. 35x plus 30y. I'll just kind of make some copies so I can plug in my numbers. There's 4 vertices. So we're going to now, too many. Okay. We'll plug in each of those ordered pairs. Doesn't matter what order you do it in. 200, 100, 400, 200, 600, 0, 200, 0. So I'm going to use a calculator for these, and I'll just start to type them all in. All right, so 35, if I make 200 color screens and I make 100 black and white screens. If I make 400 and then 200, that seems like it's going to win. Yep. 35. What if I just make 600 color screens plus 30 times, I don't really need to type in times 0. Ooh, that's the best. 35 times 200, because this is going to be 0 on the end. All right, so which one's the best? Where'd it go? There it is. All right, so if you want to maximize profit, here's my updated thing. I test all my vertices, And it's like, how do you maximize profit? The biggest number is right there. How do we maximize profit? You should make 600 color screens and 0 black and white screens. You should make 600 color screens because X is 600 and 0 black and white screens. So again, we don't need to make black and white screens anymore. We make more profit on the color screens. Let's just make only color screen TI calculators at this point. Okay, so what you're going to do is with your group, repeat that process. I think there's 4 problems you guys need to get through. If you need help, reference this, reference your notes, and make sure you hit like and subscribe.